So here we are with take 2 of the Midland 88, which is a new set sent to me from the wholesaler's warehouse this week. It's new out to me, and I was tipped off this was a new model, and so we made sure we ordered one. And tell you, if take 1 had had some sound on it, we wouldn't have had to do a take 2. But I think this video was about 40 minutes in length. And you get various brackets you'd expect, and various leaflets and various stickers and the usual trash. But what we didn't get is the main instruction manual. So I don't know whether our wholesaler sell all my instruction books on eBay or what, but we got 3 instruction books. That's the soldering iron got whipped off it's where it lives, and so we end up with safety in automotive installations, what you can do in what countries, and the quick guide. And I looked through this, and I looked through this, and I looked through this again, and in English we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and that's it. Tells you the features, doesn't tell you the specification. So on the video I opened this up, and I'm not going to do that again because there's absolutely no point. This is not anything like the Thunderpole T3000, which is what I was expecting inside. So you've got a main CPU board on the display side, and then you've got 2 boards on the RF side, and it's all surface mount stuff, and there's absolutely no adjustments whatsoever. So that's 10 minutes I don't have to waste doing that. The only thing you can see the outline of is the audio IC with its 5 legs. So there you go. So it has a colour screen, and we'll plug it into the test equipment. And what I was hoping to do, of course, was do an optimization. But no, because there's no adjustments, and I can't find any hidden menus either. There is a user menu on the front, and it seems to be a bit of a swine to get into. Perhaps I'm doing it wrongly, but I seem to have to press function, that, I don't know. Or do you hold it? So once you're in the menus, we can go into things like backlight display, keypad, keytone, rudder bleep, auto power on, default picture, I don't know, factory reset is a useful thing to know. So we can get out of that with the, oh no, whoa, get out of it with that, and then we can go down to parameter setting. So you've got scan, I don't know what the steps for, dual watch, emergency, PA, mic sensitivity, and it goes on with things like that, but nothing that would help us alter the deviation, or oh, it's got SWR protection, so nothing like that. And then we can go down to software version 1, and there's nothing we can do with that. So I'd like to change the power, and I'd like to change the deviation, because both of them are a bit low. So if we go over to the other camera, I mean, this is normal enough, isn't it, on new sets? They always come out of the box quite low. The microphone is 1000 ohms, and the model number is the mic M88. So with this being a model 88, it tells me it's kind of unique to this product. Oh yeah, before we go into power, and this is where I really struggled. and that's setting up the country, because when it came as a new set, it was on CPT and I need it on UK. So this, I went on the Midland Allen website and was able to download the full instruction book, which tells you how to do the things. I don't know whether it's got missed out of my box, been pinched by the wholesaler, the postman, or what, or whether you're just supposed to download it. I don't know. So switch off the radio. I'm pressing the up-down buttons on the mic. Switch on the radio. Then we can go into the various bands. And then, when you're satisfied which band you want, you press that button. So that's the channel knob. And that verifies it and locks it in. And we'll go to channel 20. So you've got volume, and like some of the other Midland sets we've done, which are current models, I alter the volume. I now can't change the channel until that function times out. Unless, I wonder if pressing that button, yeah, you can get out of it quicker. So yeah, you can alter the volume, press that button, and then change the channel. It's a faff, isn't it? Anyway, put the test set on. Switched everything off because, you know, everything was finished. Thought I. So into transmit, we're on the 3-watt scale. We're on picture-in-picture, and it's doing just about full-scale deflection. In actual fact, that's 2.5 watts. And that's not fair because I've just got that, the power supply's current limiting. So I'll just change that. So we're at 13.8 volts, and it's doing 3 watts. And it's drawing 1.5 amps. Now, one of the good things, I'm going to put the power supply down to 12 volts. Now, on a conventional set, if the radio was doing, say, 4 watts, it would probably be doing 2.5 on 12 volts. But look, it's doing a full 3 watts. And if I do the opposite, turn the power supply up to a scary 15, it's still 3 watts. It makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. So the regulation is absolutely excellent. So if people running a set on a battery, on an automotive battery, and it's only 12 volts and not the 13.8 to 14 of a charging battery, then this is a wise purchase because it's got regulated transmit power supply. So, deviation. Wallow, testing 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. The absolute maximum I can make that do is about 1.9, and that's going to be quiet. But try as I might, and as you know, I'm good at finding hidden menus. I haven't found a hidden menu to do the service things. There must be one, unless it's programmed by a computer somehow. I don't know. I've looked for the service manual, and there is nothing. I know it's a new set out, and in a year's time we may be able to revisit it and know more about it. So we've got a 3-watt set that doesn't do enough deviation. Now, the other good thing is now we're in UK. If I press the right-hand arrow, we go over to EU. And if I press the left-hand arrow, we go back to UK. And when we're in EU, we can go over to AM. So I don't have to reprogram it for another country like a lot of sets. It does it as you want to do it. Probably not as seamlessly as the Thunderpole 3000, but, and of course that's invalid on UK, which is FM only. So that's good. Squelch again is a faff. You're going to be pressing Squelch to turn it up and down. So we'll do that. So Squelch. So then we've got to move it up and down. So hopefully it should be hissing at that. Oops, I'm turning that as volume when that's volume. So why haven't I got any hiss? Have I muted the speaker? RF gain off, squelch off. Oh, digital squelch is on. So that needs to come off. There we go. Imagine doing this driving. So we'll put 2779125 in the signal generator. There we go. I'm going to put an S9 signal, that's 100 microvolts, onto the radio, and it's showing between 7 and 9. So that's not as we want it. If I turn my attenuator so it's 300 microvolts, I get S9. But it isn't 300 microvolts, it should be 100 microvolts. So it's what you'd call a lazy needle. But without being able to trim that's how it reads, which is disappointing. If we talk about the RF meter, and I'll just turn the volume down because some people don't like that. If I press transmit now, you see it's reading 4, which suggests to me that it thinks it's doing 4 watts. If I turn down the power supply, I'll just try it to where it actually, I'll turn it to 11.5 volts and see what happens. So it's still doing 3 watts and it's still saying 4 on there. So I don't know under what circumstances. I don't know whether it's really sensing that, and that is like conventional CB radios in the 80s where it really is the power reading, or whether it just is a glorified TX light like we've seen very recently on most new sets. So the next test I tried to do was to get out the Zetagi meter and see what the Zetagi meter says, because chances are it will probably say 4 watts on this. So if I plug it into there, we actually had no joy. This time we have, and it says we're doing 4 watts. But we know this is more than 10% fast, so even taking into consideration how tight my Marconi instrument is, because it measures it only measures the power and the frequency we're testing, and not the spirit emissions. We know that the radio is not doing, under any circumstances, more than just over 3 watts. So it's not even doing 4 on the Zetagi meter. It's strange that, because when I did the video earlier, it was coming up with flat battery, flat battery, flat battery, as if it didn't want to transmit into that item. It didn't like the Zetagi-ness of it. So that's a test we've done this time, which I couldn't do last time. So let's see where the cyanide is, because of course modern set like this and the surface mount parts and that select on test, all that kind of stuff, it's excellent receive. So that is something we're not going to moan about at all. So let's put the camera onto the cyanide meter and plug in the test instruments. When I did this video first time round, the phone kept ringing as well. So we need enough volume to make the instruments read. That's enough. So if we look at 12 dB cyanide there, it's about there, and that is 0.3 microvolts. So 0.3 microvolts for 12 dB cyanide. And then if we go a bit further down and look at 10 dB, we're looking at about 0.27 for 10 dB cyanide. And if we look for 20 dB cyanide, we'll go up a scale, it's about there. You're looking at about 0.55 for 20 dB cyanide. So those sensitivity figures are absolutely excellent. So there you go. But of course that depends how your noise floor is, doesn't it? And you may find that you've got several microvolts of noise. But anyway, that is what we have discovered, which is excellent receive. Out of interest, and I didn't do this before, I'll just turn that off. I'll tell you what we didn't do last time. We didn't do whether the AM mod was any good. So I'll now do that. We'll go back to the other meter, and I'll select this for AM. That should where we are. 1212 Warlow. What's that? It's 85-90% modulation. So yeah, I mean on AM that's great. It's just FM, and it's FM we want. So go back to UK, which is what we really want, and I think that's covered it, to be honest. You've got RF gain, so it's a matter of pressing the button, setting that how you want it, and it will attenuate accordingly, but we'll turn that off. You've got what else? We've got you saw those things in the... Oh, you can mute it quickly. Oh, no, it's not done like that. It's function mute. Or is it long press mute? If it's second function mute. Oh, it's done it this time. Does that get out of it? It does. And monitor if you'd got the squelch closed. So if we close the squelch, I'll turn that signal off, set the squelch. I'll set the digital squelch to. Now if we want to listen, we can press monitor, function monitor. So you can quickly, instead of messing with the squelches, you can quickly go into that. Can't quickly go back though. There we go. So we'll put it on the air. I'll take the instruments out because I say the receiver is absolutely excellent. Which is now on the aerial. So I better press monitor. We're not going to hear anything out here in the middle of nowhere. Go on, Nana, Roger. Not a lot out there, is there? It's 6:20. They've probably all been called in by the mummies to have their tea. Oh, there's a bit of something. So we go out to map monitor, and it's under the squelch. So there you have it, the Midland 88. Which, okay, I've got into a setup menu. Switching on with menu and M1 brings it into update mode, so it's looking for a software input, probably from the mic socket or from the external speaker socket off a computer. So I can't, there's nothing I can do there for a different software version. And I think I will just prove it, but I think it was M4 and menu brought me into the service mode. So at the moment we are looking at, so this has changed everything I've said. This is persevering. Wasting an hour of my time to save you from buying a pig in a poke. So, no doubt if I transmit, this is its lowest end test frequency. Oh, I'm on the blooming aerial on a frequency that's not authorised. Good grief, they'll be coming around with me with handcuffs. Right, back into the test equipment. Yeah, 24715 is a test frequency. That's fine. So our next feature is going to be what? AM on the same thing. Alright, what's the next one? How do we advance through this menu? There we go. 27.42 is another test frequency. .105 is another test frequency. Yep. This looks like frequency. This looks like frequency drift. Absolutely spot on, 27205. So while I press transmit, I just wonder, and I'll just put it over to the frequency display of the test set so you can see this. We'll just see whether yeah. Seems to be altering that. So next one. Oh, power PWH, I think that is. The power supply can't do that. It's probably got an export mode which we're not interested in. So it's a bit, power medium. Let's try that. No, let's try it'll be power low then. Yes. Yes, it's increasing. Go back to the meter. I'm just going to put this. I didn't put this on the other power supply. I'll just make sure we've got this turned up to maximum. We use a 2.5 amp power supply, which is normally fine for CBs. But if we're setting this up, it may not. There we are. There we are. We're doing 4 watts. Fantastic. So it was sub-menu 7, power low. This is going to have some export modes for Russia and things like that, or when you're at sea 200 miles off land for other things. I think it can do 8 watts in those circumstances, but I don't know whether I'd believe it. Anyway, that's doing 4 watts, and that's for everybody to see, so that's great. So that's in that sub-menu, it's number 7. I'm glad it hadn't defeated me, I really am. RST. Is that receiving test strength or something? Whatever it is, it's 27205. I'm going to put my signal generator on 27205. I'm not sure what this is doing. So we'll just get the little oscillator out in case we are altering the deviation. One, two. No, I don't seem to be transmitting any sound at that. So I'm not sure what our... No. What happens if I alter it? No, I don't know. So try the next parameter. FOD. Warlow. 1212. Nope. Next one. Tone. Okay, it's generating an internal tone to set the deviation, I presume. Or, I don't know. Anyway, it's generating an internal tone, and it's showing us that the deviation is 1.5, which is even more paltry. This is CTCSS, which it doesn't even do in this mode. Digital code squelch, which it doesn't do in this mode. AM, not touching that. AM, 8 watts. AM, BPF, no idea. Squelch optimization, so I'm going to leave that. Squelch, auto squelch. RF gain. Squelch. Presume that's auto squelch. Looks like a voltage test. 13.5 at the radio. So where is deviation? Warlow. It's not that one. Well, we know that's high power. We know that's medium power. We know that's low power. And that's the one we adjusted. Warlow. 1, 2. RST. I don't know. Warlow. Ah, is it that one? Yes, the deviation's rising. Warlow. We're now at 2. Right, top of the shop. Absolutely as high as it could go. Warlow. And it'll do 2.2. It'll just do 2.2. Warlow. Absolutely excellent. So we've got the deviation up. And it's number 9. So it's number 7 is the power. And number 9 is the deviation. So I must make a note of this on this little stuffer sheet that's going to get shoved in. So service menu. So it's power on with emergency menu button plus M4. And then 7 equals power and 9 equals deviation. And there was a frequency adjusting there, but it's brand new and it's spot on. Good. Well, I'm glad that that's going to make all the difference. So in a way, I've had to shoot this video twice. We've still ended up with a bit longer than we could have ended up with, but at least this time around I've actually got into the service manual. So, how do we get out of the service menu? Do we press function? Wallow. Yep, we're there. Do we press function? Do we just turn it off? And turn it back on again? Ah, it's rebooted on its own. So let's see whether we've still got 4 watts of power. We have. We've got 4 watts of power, and I'll have to retune because we're now back to UK channels for the deviation. Wallow, 1212, and we have 2.2 deviation. That is a fantastic result. I'm very pleased with myself, and it's drawing 1.75 amps on transmit now. Well, we'll put it back on the aerial, awaiting his Mr. Chippiness. So that's gone from being a bit of a white elephant into a very nice radio. But the rider is you've got a channel knob and everything else is on ups and downs, and that isn't always convenient. It certainly isn't to me. So we'll go back on 19 and we'll go into monitor. Well, we can hear them coming through if I turn the volume up. 19 Roger. 19 Roger. So that's interesting. I've not realised this. When you receive, you've got the S meter, and at the moment it's showing what 3 to 4 of residual background noise. I put it to channel 20. When we go to transmit, it's still green. So we've got an RX in green and a bar graph in green. On transmit, you've got TX now in red and a bar graph in green. And you'll notice, although we've knocked the power up from 3 to 4 watts, it still only says 4, which tells me it's just programmed to do that when it's in that mode. Right, that's greatly improved. Thank you for watching the brand spanking new Midland 88.